In a shocking turn of events, the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, announced a new policy change requiring chromosome screening, effectively banning transgender athletes from participating in the upcoming 2028 Olympic Games, finally bringing to light an issue that pundits say has been plaguing the Olympic Games for centuries. To truly understand the full scope of this crisis, we will be exploring a complete and exhaustive list of transgender Olympians competing throughout the full history of the Olympic Games, to explore how deep this fairness crisis really goes.
A complete and exhaustive list of transgender Olympians?
Yeah.
Dany, how long is this episode going to be?
Incoming broadcast. You're listening to Dot Femme.
Welcome to Dot Femme. I'm your host, Danielle Gonzalez.
I'm Claire.
So, Claire, can you actually guess how many trans athletes have competed in the Olympic Games across all of history? No, looking at the show notes, what's your best guess across all of history?
Across all of history? Well, first we have to look at the Romans, and then we have to go to the Greeks, and then, wait, are those the same? I don't know. It's probably only like a dozen.
Would you like to know the true number?
Yeah.
Let's meet all of our trans Olympians.
Hey!
Our first contestant is a weightlifter hailing from New Zealand. Participating at the age of 43, she was the fourth oldest weightlifter and the first openly trans woman to ever compete in the Olympic Games, ending her Olympic run with a DNF rank at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. It's Laurel Hubbard!
Laurel!
Our next contestant hails from the Great White North. This Canadian soccer player was assigned female at birth and at the Tokyo 2020 Games in June of 2021 became the first openly transgender non-binary athlete to participate in the Olympics, where they aided the Canadian women's soccer team in winning the gold medal. Give it up for Quinn!
Quinn! Wait, is there more?
That's it. That's the whole list?
There's only two?
It's only two.
You're kidding.
Well, I mean, that's the whole list of out and open transgender Olympians. I mean, there are some other lists that include athletes who transitioned after they competed at the Olympics.
Sure.
But that's the list of trans Olympians who were out and open when they competed.
Wow, that's so few.
Well, that's our episode. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, you can find more episodes.
Dany!
What?
Dany!
What?
Dany, I am the audience surrogate, and the audience wants to know. So why is it such a big issue?
What do you mean?
It's so small.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's like nothing. Like I don't know. There's like nothing to it. Like there's two people.
So you're saying you want to dive a little deeper on this one, huh?
How long is the episode?
So obviously the public spin for this whole issue is this, crazy idea that we have somehow uncovered some new emerging fairness problem and nobody's been able to solve it yet.
Well, okay. So this is a trans history podcast. This is not about fairness in sports. What's the history?
All right. So collegiate sports has actually had a solution for this, quote, problem for more than a decade. Mm-hmm. You know, the NCAA introduced a participation policy in 2010 that allowed trans athletes to compete after about a year of hormone therapy.
Okay.
And on the international stage, the IOC has had policies addressing trans participation since 2004.
Wow. So that's like the same governing body that just banned trans women from competing had a more inclusive policy that was based on hormone levels since 2004. Is that right?
Yep. The initial IOC policy in 2004 required trans athletes to have undergone genital surgery, 2 years of hormone therapy, and legally changed their gender in order to qualify. But as we all know, surgery can be pretty prohibitive due to cost or, medical complications. Not to mention, not every trans person even wants to undergo bottom surgery for, various reasons. So in 2015, after a bunch of backlash and talking with trans advocates, the IOC dropped the surgery requirement and revised the rule, clarifying that the hormone therapy requirement, specifically requiring participants in the women's division to have a testosterone count of 10 nanomoles per liter or less. Now, for context, since a lot of our listeners probably aren't super in the weeds when it comes to like biological chemistry and medical jargon.
I mean, who isn't?
Right. 10 nanomoles per liter is still high for women. To kind of put it into perspective, the average range for adult women in nanomoles per liter is 0.5 to 2.4 nanomoles per liter, according to the Mayo Clinic. But remember, we're talking about elite athletes here. So the range for testosterone probably skews a little bit towards the higher end of the range.
Yeah.
Either way, though, the IOC still required trans athletes to undergo hormone therapy for at least 1 to 2 years prior to competing.
All right.
And then during competition, maintain lower than that 10 nanomoles per liter threshold.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that.
Right. And while the science on trans healthcare is still pretty limited, especially when it comes to elite athletes who transition, we need more data. But the data we do have does show that after about 1 to 2 years of HRT, hormone levels for trans folks settle into the average range of their cis counterparts. So for trans women, the average range of testosterone after 1 to 2 years of HRT is about 0.4 to 1.2 nanomoles. So that's not just within range for women. It's actually a narrower range than cis women have.
So what you're saying is the argument completely breaks down.
It starts to, yeah. And in fact, IOC researcher Dr. Joanna Harper noted that in the most significant study up to the early 2010s that studied athletes' performance before and after transition, again, there aren't a lot of studies, we need more, but we have a couple, and the most significant one, the performance of trans women actually suffered pretty significantly after their transition. Now, I have to admit, the study only reviewed the data for 8 trans women runners. So, as Dr. Harper notes, more data is needed to make any kind of definitive ruling, especially because
based upon how many trans athletes there are in the Olympics, it's going to be kind of hard to find more data.
Well, there's a distinct lack of research when it comes to trans healthcare in general, let alone athletic performance. So we do definitely need to put more resources behind studying trans healthcare in general. But what little data we do have doesn't really show a consistent universal advantage that would justify these blanket bans that we're seeing right now.
Right. I mean, it just kind of sounds like trans athletes might be at a disadvantage.
Well, possibly. Again, more data is needed. I would describe any potential disadvantage that you're picking up in the pure data is probably likely to be negligible across a larger data set. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to make here, right? I mean, major decisions like this to exclude trans people in general are being made on inexistent or entirely negligible data. I mean, okay, let's take a step back and just look at the 2015 IOC revision.
Yep.
10 nanomoles per liter.
Yep.
10 nanomoles.
Okay.
The upper limit for a cis woman is 2.4, 2.8. Yeah. So that's almost like 5 times higher than the average upper limit for cis women. According to, the pundits' outrage logic, allowing such a high level of testosterone in the women's division should have led to a surge of imposters trying to take advantage, right? And yet,
I mean,
there were no openly trans athletes that participated in 2016 after the 2015 revision was implemented.
Yeah.
So I think that just goes to show that there just aren't that many trans athletes actually trying to compete in elite athletics,
right,
in general.
What did we learn about last episode? It was the lavender scare, right?
Yeah, and we talked about moral panics.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds a little bit like that, doesn't it?
It does. So the Olympics been going on for, hang on, let me start counting. 2025, 2024, 2,000 years or so, right?
No, like maybe 150.
Wait, actually?
Yeah. I mean, the Olympics
No, but it goes way back to like the Romans and the Greeks, like I was saying earlier.
No, it doesn't. The Olympics are in the tradition of the Olympic Games of ancient Greece, sure. But our modern Olympics, it's a recent thing. I mean, there have been multiple organized athletic events that use the term Olympics ever since the Cotswold Games in England in 1612. But the modern Olympic Games that are run by the IOC, that started with the first Olympic Games in 1896 that was held in Athens.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not really far. Like, that's 150 years. And like, of those 150 years, how many of them are trans people?
Out and open?
Yeah.
2.
So you're telling Dany, this is obviously a moral panic. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
This is not a trend. It's not something that's like, needs to be addressed. There are 2 people. There's just so many fucking arguments that just break down completely.
Yeah, it's what we in the biz call statistically insignificant. It's a rounding error.
That's what they call it.
And when you take a step back and look at this outside the sports arena with a critical lens, it's not a new thing. A huge part of the conservative talking point that drives this is all about a, supposed permanent biological male advantage that, trans women gain from going through male puberty. But if the effects of testosterone on muscle mass and bone density were permanent, well, all right. I'm going to read something to you real quick.
All right.
In adults, symptoms include difficulty getting and keeping an erection, infertility, less muscle mass, gynecomastia, loss of bone mass, or osteoporosis. Based on those symptoms, can you guess the medical condition I just described?
I mean, kind of sounds like someone's got really low testosterone.
Yeah, specifically, the condition I was describing is male hypogonadism, which is a condition that can be both genetic and chronic, but it can also...
Sounds like they need some gender-affirming care.
Yeah, but it can also be developed by diseases like HIV/AIDS can cause it. Medical conditions like those that affect the pituitary gland can cause it, or...
No, don't say it!
Aging. Just getting old.
All right.
Yeah.
So much for the biological male advantage.
Right. And obviously, we're oversimplifying for the show. But like I said, more research is needed. And this is really where the logic falls apart completely. Because if this were purely about a permanent physical advantage left over from puberty, you'd expect this panic mostly to stay within the highly physical sports category. The ones that rely on speed, strength, endurance, but it doesn't. So let's look at the FIDE. Any idea what they oversee?
I was saying it earlier. It's chess. It's chess.
Exactly. Chess.
Yeah.
A highly competitive physical sport that's famously dependent on
muscle mass and how strong someone is.
Right.
Obviously.
Naturally. We all know that. Or here's a good one from just a couple days ago. The DRA, the Darts Regulation Authority.
I saw this.
Just a few days ago, they implemented a policy that limited women's darts events to cis women. Trans women are restricted from competing in women's darts events.
I mean, it's really hard to throw a dart 10 feet,
Right. I mean, of course, we all know that testosterone naturally makes men more aerodynamic, right? You knew that.
Oh, that's the argument that we're making. Oh!
I'm being sarcastic. But at this point, it's obviously not about any measurable athletic dominance or advantage. It's about drawing certain boundaries and mandating who gets to belong. And when you look at all of the examples of trans athletes that people like to point at, it seems pretty obvious. Leah Thomas.
Right.
Tied for 5th place in a swimming match.
Yep.
Laurel Hubbard.
Yep.
Didn't even medal.
Nope.
Quinn would have competed in the women's division either way.
Yeah.
So this is just, it looks like selective outrage is what this is. For more than a decade, major sports organizations already had policies in place to protect fairness.
God damn it. I feel like I'm just like a parrot at this point because I was talking about it earlier.
They always bring it back to fairness, and a solution already existed. Hormone-based rules, sports-specific evaluations. Was it a perfect solution? No. Is there always room for further study and improvement? Yeah, absolutely there is. But when you talk to most athletes that compete alongside trans athletes, they usually don't have a problem with it. For instance, we were talking about Laurel Hubbard. So Charisma Amotarant, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I'm probably getting that wrong.
That's a beautiful name.
I agree. She's an Olympic weightlifter. She qualified in the same category and competed against Laurel Hubbard in the Olympics. And she publicly supported Hubbard's participation.
Awesome.
Hell, even Riley Gaines, Riley Gaines
Yep.
initially said she supported Leah Thomas's right to transition and compete, and was really only initially frustrated that they didn't have an additional 5th place trophy for the photo op because they tied in those initial interviews right after it happened. It wasn't until she realized she could monetize the culture war that she went all in on this. So it isn't some fresh discovery of a new crisis of fairness that we haven't been able to solve yet. And now we're pretending like that solution never existed. This is just a moral panic to justify blanket exclusion and open transphobia, hatred, and cruelty.
I know. And it just keeps getting worse. And we have to stand up to fight before it gets any better. Because the global crisis of transgender domination in the Olympic Games currently consists of
two people.
Yep, 2 people. And one of whom did not receive a medal.
Right.
Yep. And wait, who's the other one?
The other one was already competing in the same category as their sex assigned at birth.
We'll continue to monitor this situation closely and bring you any breaking updates as they develop.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode, let us know. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe, drop a comment, all that stuff. If you're listening on Spotify, you can comment there too now. Let us know what you thought of the episode.
This is so ridiculous.
So I'm sorry this one was a bit shorter than usual. Between Claire being sick.
Blame it on me.
And then we went on a research trip for an upcoming episode. And then I got sick.
Blame it on you.
Not to mention starting spring classes. It's just been really hectic lately. So this one's been a bit shorter. Actually, speaking of going back to classes, I have a bit of a kind of an announcement that hopefully will end up being kind of bittersweet, but
I don't know. I think it'll be better.
I think so too. Moving forward, we're going to be adjusting our release schedule down to only 1 episode per month.
Yeah.
Instead of every other Wednesday, it'll be on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. So with, the added workload and schedule complications of me going back to college and Claire, working with Seattle Voice Lab and everything, I just haven't had the time to put in the effort into researching and producing these episodes as much as I would like to.
Well, and on top of that, our research topics are getting more in depth now too, because when we first started this, how many did we do last year?
It was 22.
22 or something.
Yeah, it was a total of 22 episodes.
Yeah, it was really easy to find 22 queer history beats. And now it's well, actually, what could we talk about?
Well,
we're reading more, we're learning, and we're trying to find cross-reference ideas.
It was less about being easier and more about the fact that I was unemployed and not in school at the time. So all of my available time could go into this podcast.
Dany's making her way up.
This year's a little different. So,
and
I feel like, to speak directly to the listeners, I feel like you all deserve higher quality episodes than I feel like I've been able to put out and research. So I think that this change is going to be better for everyone. It means fewer episodes,
Agreed.
But hopefully higher quality episodes. Yep. I hope.
Yep.
So, and speaking of episodes, you can find more of those wherever you get your podcasts or directly on our website at dotfemmepodcast.com. If you really enjoy queer history and want to help preserve our stories, you can support us financially by contributing to us over on our Patreon, where you can also get any additional content like my full conversation with Dr. Fauci about the AIDS crisis.
Hey, Dany, can we watch another movie soon?
Sure.
Excellent. Those are also on Patreon. We do queer commentary on movies, and it's great.
If you have suggestions for other queer histories you'd like us to cover, definitely let us know. You can send us an email on our website through a form, or you can send us a real-life letter to our P.O. box. The address is on our website as well. We really love hearing about local queer history stories, especially stuff that we wouldn't otherwise know about. In fact, our next episode next month is one of those local histories from Zuni Pueblo, New Mexico. So
it's very good.
It'll be very fun. Anyway, with that, thank you for listening. We will see you next month.